What do we need to know about Raiola's visit to Georgia and Georgia Tech?
It was his sixth time on Georgia's campus. And I think the momentum is now with the Bulldogs again in this recruitment coming out of a trip where, talking to his father, he said that Georgia's elite in every way. And he talks to Mike Bobo every day. Loves the opportunity to play on the SEC stage there, the type of players that he could play with at Georgia. I think the way Kirby Smart has built his alma mater, those are all things that stand out to Dylan Raiola. And again, Georgia was the first program to identify him very early on in his process. They were the first to offer him. They got him to campus a ton. I think they grabbed the momentum after the national championship game as well with the way that they showed against TCU. I think 2 visits to USC clouded that a little bit, but I'm back thinking that Georgia has the momentum coming out of this visit to Athens with the time he spent with the Georgia coaching staff, watching their first full padded practice. I think he really loved the experience.
What a back and forth battle we've got on our hands, Steve. It's going to be a handful to cover that recruitment, obviously, in the coming weeks and months. Dylan Raiola wasn't the only prospect in Athens to take in Georgia's practice. They had a number of other high-profile players and recruits that they're targeting. Number 1 class right now, but who else did they make an impression on this past weekend?
Well, basically everyone on campus. We'll just highlight a few here. 5-star defensive lineman Williams Nwaneri made his first visit to the Georgia campus, and he told me he'll be back for an official visit. Coach Derive, Coach Smart really impressed him. The intensity of practice. He's been on a lot of visits. He's seen a lot of places. He said it's just different at Georgia, and you can tell why they win at a high clip. 5-star receiver Ryan Wingo, who was a big riser in these rankings, up to number 6 in these top 247 rankings. Gabe Brooks, super high on Ryan Wingo as a prospect, and so is the Georgia Bulldogs. This is a recruitment where I thought Tennessee was in fantastic shape for him for much of it, but recent visits to Alabama, we kind of talked about that on the show a couple weeks ago. I thought that Alabama visit moved the needle. I think this Georgia visit really moved the needle, and the Bulldogs is a program I'm watching closely. And just like Nwaneri, he said that he'll be back for an official visit as well. And one other player to highlight that was at Georgia this weekend is top 247 linebacker Myles Graham, who's currently committed to Florida. But Georgia is a program that he said he's going to come back for an official visit. And similar to Nwaneri, just talked about the intensity of practice, how physical they were, how the coaches were getting after them, but also how the coaches were coaching them up on the side. And then seeing that applied on the field really stood out to Myles Graham. So Florida may have their hands full to keep him in the fold as well.
All right, Jadyn Davis took yet another trip to Ann Arbor, and of course, more crystal balls came out of it. I think it's 6 now total for him to land at Michigan. What's the latest with Jadyn Davis?
Yeah, Emily, you should put a crystal ball in too, because I love where Michigan stands for Jadyn Davis right now. Is his 5th visit to campus. Got a chance to take in a spring practice, got a chance to take in a spring scrimmage. And then the main reason why he went up to visit was to spend time with new quarterbacks coach Kurt Campbell, get a feel for him in person. And Coach Campbell knocked that out of the park, talking to Jadyn and talking to his dad. They have full trust in Kurt Campbell and what he's able to do in that position room. J.J. McCarthy's already stamped him with his approval, and the Davis family super close with the McCarthy family. And then look, Jadyn loves Jim Harbaugh, and I think I get the sense, talking to the Davis camp, Jim Harbaugh obviously loves Jadyn Davis too. As Blair said, they aren't pushing for any other quarterbacks in the class. He's QB2 for 24/7 Sports. He's QB1 on Michigan's board there, a 5-star recruit in our updated rankings here. And those two got a chance to reconnect, and Michigan's the clear program to beat here for Jadyn Davis right now.
Yeah, Steve, I had another quarterback who had told me he had made it out to a visit to Michigan, and they basically told him, maybe you should look around. We're targeting this Jadyn Davis guy. Other players were in Ann Arbor for visits, and obviously they're trending for Jadyn Davis. Who else might they be trending for, Steve?
Well, Michigan, they have the number 5 class in the country right now. When you land 2 straight Joe Moore awards awarded to the best offensive line in college football, you're going to probably recruit that position at a high level moving forward. They already have Luke Hamilton committed out of Avon, Ohio. I logged the 24/7 Sports crystal ball for Blake Frazier, a legacy recruit out of Austin, Texas, Vandergrift High. Michigan covets him, got him to campus again this weekend. I think that they've set the bar in this recruitment. He's going to be at Texas this weekend, was recently at Oregon. He's got his eye on others like LSU, Florida, but I think Michigan is the program to beat right now for Blake Frazier. And another offensive lineman that I really like Michigan for is Ben Roebuck out of Lakewood, Ohio, St. Edward High, 6'7", 320 pounds. I feel really, really good about Michigan's position there. And then let's talk about another player that's extremely high on Michigan's board, regardless of position. Top 247 running back, Jadyn Marshall out of Cincinnati, Archbishop Moeller. Rushed for nearly 2,000 yards as a junior. Also can catch the football out of the backfield. Just a dynamic, multi-purpose back there. Arguably the best player at the position in the Midwest. I think Michigan is I give them the edge in this recruitment going into his spring visits and then ultimately his officials. And certainly he's high on Ohio State. Wisconsin's very much in it with Luke Fickell and his ties to Cincinnati and how hard that they've recruited that area. Jadyn Marshall's high on Wisconsin. And then Tennessee's the SEC program that he's looking hard at. He's going to visit all these programs again, but Jadyn Marshall is back at Michigan this weekend. And Michigan, they had some tough sledding against Ohio State for a while on the trail, particularly in the state of Ohio, but they've beaten the Buckeyes 2 times in a row. They've been in 2 straight college football playoffs. Their rushing attack is one of the most dominant ones in college football. And then you add in the stuff that Michigan offers off the field, his relationship with Mike Hart. I think the Wolverines are in excellent position for Jadyn Marshall as he continues through his process. So we'll see what happens with his upcoming visits to Ohio State, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. And we know he'll be back at Michigan.
Well, newly minted 5-star edge Jordan Ross visiting Auburn over the weekend outside of just missing Cam Newton. How'd that visit go?
Well, I think that Auburn's in fantastic position for Jordan Ross. I think that's one of the programs that he's looking the strongest at right now. He had a great visit to Alabama early in the month. This is a guy that Cooper Patagna really fell in love with after seeing him live in Atlanta here. And he's got some visits coming up. He's going to be at Georgia this weekend. He likes I think we could fill in the blanks on what he likes about Georgia. 2-time national champs, their track record of defensive linemen getting drafted. He's going to go to LSU on April 1. He's not been to LSU before, so he's excited to learn more about the Tigers program. LSU is our number 2 class right now. Auburn, he'll be back on April 8th. And then Tennessee, he's been to Tennessee several times. April 15th, he'll be back there. And so I think right now, Alabama was a really strong visit for him. He's excited about the future of Auburn under Hugh Freeze and company. But don't sleep on Tennessee here. He's been there numerous times. I think the Vols are in very good position for him, and he'll be back again on April 15th for their spring game.
Steve, let's stay in the state of Alabama. Cameron Coleman, newly minted 5-star, was just the alpha dog, according to 24/7 Sports, at the OT7 regional in Phoenix this past weekend. What's the latest in the recruitment of the coveted pass catcher?
Yeah, and that's a guy that I believe blew Ivins and Cooper Patagna away when they saw him live eval, and then he backed that up in front of Huffman and Chris Singletary and those guys that covered the event over the weekend. But Mike's got some visits coming up here. He's got a return visit to Tennessee locked in, and he saw Tennessee beat Alabama, and he was back there in January and then coming there again this spring. It shows me that he is obviously very high on the balls. He's also excited to get back to Alabama. Had a great experience in Tuscaloosa this summer. He's going to visit Alabama the first week of April, as well as Tennessee the first week of April. And he enjoyed talking with Nick Saban on his last visit. He's got an official visit locked in for USC in June. He also visited USC in the summer. And that's a program I get the sense they're kind of in a sneaky good position for Mike Matthews as well. He loved his first experience out there. Going to go back for an official. And then Georgia, Clemson, he'll get to those campuses again. And those are kind of the 5 programs that I think are in best position for Mike Matthews right now. And again, Tennessee getting the second visit since in this calendar year shows how highly interested he is in the Vols.
Yeah, you mentioned Mike Matthews. Clearly he's got a busy spring ahead already all over the place with his visits. So what's on the horizon for his recruitment?
Yeah, so Mike Matthews looking to get to Georgia soon, going to get to Tennessee and Alabama the first week of April, and then USC an official in June is what's locked in right now. And then we know he'll get to Clemson again soon.